Hi everyone, welcome to our presentation. Our focus today is on a form of special interest tourism known as geotourism. So the purpose of this video is to explore what geotourism really is and how it is experienced, and also what challenges and opportunities it presents in the practice. In brief, it refers to exploration of the Earth's natural mountains, caves, rocks, rivers, and landscape, while also sustaining or preserving the environment and the local culture as well. And so for our case study, we visited Wireless Hills Park in Perth. The place gives us insight on how visitors engage with natural landscape, its biodiversity and cultural heritage of the park, while also considering sustainable practices. This presentation will reflect what we saw at Wireless Hills Park with theoretical concepts such as sustainable management tourism, visitors' experience, conservation practices, and together these ideas will help us show how geotourism reflects the broader characteristics of special interest tourism.
Have you traveled to a famous destination but not for what it's known for, like the views or landmarks, but for something of your own interest, for example, the authentic local food or traditional handicraft? Well, that is called special interest tourism, or SIT. Unlike generalist travelers who often go for the mainstream sites, special interest travelers are motivated by a particular hobby, activity, or passion. This motivation shapes their choices of when, where, and how long they travel. It represents a shift away from the rigid standardized tourism towards more unique, focused experiences, ones that are personalized, engaging, and often spark a strong emotional connection. And today we're looking at a specific type of SIT, geotourism. Geotourism is a sustainable form of tourism with a primary focus on experiencing the Earth's geological features in a way that fosters understanding, appreciation, and conservation of abiotic, biotic, and cultural elements, thereby promoting both environmental and cultural awareness. And here are 5 key elements of geotourism: nature-based, ecologically sustainable, environmentally educative, locally beneficial, and generate tourism or tourist satisfaction. Located in Western Australia, we're blessed with some of the world's unique and most spectacular geological formations. For example, Mount Augustus, Bongo Bongo Range, and Bluff Knoll. But still, geotourism isn't always about dramatic landscapes. It can also be experienced in everyday settings. A quick example: Caves Road in the Margaret River region, stretching between Cape Naturalist and Cape Leeuwin, the scenic drive showcases shifting geology, vineyards, forests, and sustainable land care practices. Beyond appreciating the landscape, which is abiotic, visitors can also enjoy the region's biotic richness through local produce and vineyards, as well as cultural experiences such as local art exhibitions and community events. This form of tourism isn't just a trip, but an experience deeply tied to personal passion. Geotourism is rapidly growing as more travelers want authentic, sustainable tourism that connects them to both nature and culture.
At Wireless Hill Park, the demand for geotourism reflects the typical profile seen in research. Studies shows that geotourists are often community-oriented, environmentally aware, and motivated by nature-based experiences. They are also more often women, well-educated, and middle-aged or older. We were able to observe this in our field trip. Many of the visitors were older women and couples walking the Wildflower Trail, which was especially popular because it is wildflower season at the moment. Some visitors had a lot of knowledge about orchids and were really keen to share it with us, while others just explored the museum. Overall, the demand here represents a niche group of tourists who are looking for nature, heritage, and learning rather than mass recreation. On the supply side, Wireless Hill offers attractions that fit the ABC framework. Abiotic features include the Swan Coastal Plain and scenic views of the Swan River. Biotic attractions are the seasonal orchids, other wildflowers, and bird life. Cultural elements include the Wajak Heritage and the Museum, as well as the War Memorial. Visitors can experience this through 3 main trails: Station Walk, Yagins Kanuni, and the Wildflower Walk, along with orchids identification, bird watching, and recreational facilities such as barbecues, picnic areas, and accessible paths. Management is shared between the City of Melville, which oversees the park and the museum, and the Friend of Wireless Hill, which is a volunteer group that takes care of conserving and protecting the bushland of Wireless Hill. And then the Wildflower Society of Western Australia who runs guided walk during wildfire season in collaboration with friends of Wireless Hill.
Hey there, I'm Matthias, and that was a lot to take in. But what is geotourism and how can we link it to special interest tourism? Well, by observing Wireless Hill Park, we can do this. So by now you should know the ABC model. I know we've said a lot, but abiotic, which is the landscape and geology, biotic, which is the plants and fauna, and finally the culture, which is the history shaped by humans both past and present. Wireless Hill reflects all three. For example, its position on the Swan Coastal Plain highlights the abiotic geology and poor soils, of which 200 species of wildflowers, including the kangaroo paw, thrive. These represent the biotic dimension and the communication station along with the Whadjuk Noongar heritage stories that capture the cultural dimension. Special interest tourism is characterised as being small scale and educational. The tourists at Wireless Hill Park are there for the communications history, the wildflowers and the landforms. This shows a connection to Dowling 2013's Global Geotourism as being educational and locally distinctive. It is important to know that special interest tourism is small scale and sustainable. Here we can see that example in effect. You'll notice the lack of mass tourism, with a small number of tourists walking around enjoying the wildflower walk at Wireless Hill Park. We also saw key sustainability challenges that theory highlights. For example, Friends of Wireless Hill Park act as an important stewardship role keeping the park alive and well, but threats like Thythora dieback or water mold threatens the fragile ecosystem. But that's enough from me on sustainability, we'll cover some more next. So what has our case of Wireless Hill Park shown us? Well, it's directly connected to geotourism. It is culture-based, linked with nature, sustainable, and an educational field theme. Now I'll pass you on to my esteemed colleague to tell you more.
Next, I will discuss the sustainability issues associated with Wireless Hill Park and propose some possible solutions. The sustainability of the management practice is one of the biggest problems. We observed that parts of the park are suitable for walking, which can end in soil erosion and damage to native plants. One possible solution is to develop more defined walking trails and some boardwalks that channel people around those areas. A second challenge is finding a healthy medium between satisfying visitors and conservation. The park offers the opportunities of open space, picnics, and walks. But if too many facilities are added, the natural values may be lost. One potential solution to this issue is smart zoning, where areas are zoned for recreation and others exclusive for conservation. A third challenge is interpretation and teaching. There are also interpretive science about Aboriginal culture, biodiversity, and radio on site. Though not all visitors interact with this, this could be enhanced with guided tours, apps, or QR code that would help make learning more interactive and promote responsible behavior. Then there is the issue around the local community. To avoid cultural conflict and ensure benefit, local communities should be involved in planning, guiding tours, and sharing cultural knowledge directly with visitors. In general, these issues can be met by better management, zoning, alternative education measures, and good cooperation from the community. That would see the Wireless Hill Park continue to be a meaningful heritage site.
Okay, so in conclusion, our visit to Wireless Hills Park showed that geotourism provides educational as well as nature-based experience while promoting environmental awareness. Visitors were motivated by learning about the landscape, enjoying recreational activities, and connecting with nature. So moving further, some recommendations could be adding digital signage to explain geological and ecological features, managing visitor impact to protect sensitive areas, encouraging local community involved to keep the park educational and sustainable as well. So overall, geotourism at Wireless Hills Park is a great example of how geotourism can support conservation and provide meaningful experience for the visitors. Thank you.